Hey you! Thanks for stopping by! Welcome back to my channel. It's the beginning of October, and that means talking about scary movies. I want to talk about a movie I saw on TV years ago. It's an adaptation of a Stephen King story. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. It was a made-for-TV movie. Not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Oh, for goodness sakes, it was Quicksilver Highway. It originally aired on May 13th, 1997 on the Fox network.
On a Fox Tuesday night movie. Since you couldn't imagine a world this terrifying, he did it for you because you wouldn't dare enter his nightmare alone. He took you there. Now the masters of horror are together for the first time, and things are about to get out of hand. Fox presents an original movie produced and directed by Mick Garris. Christopher Lloyd stars in Quicksilver Highway on the Fox Tuesday night movie.
I thought it would be a good idea to talk about a Stephen King movie since The Long Walk just came out. As I said, it was based on a short story by Stephen King who needs no introduction. But only half of the film is a Stephen King adaptation. The other half is adapted from author Clive Barker. I haven't read any of his books, but I did enjoy the Hellraiser movies. This movie is half Stephen King, half Clive Barker. Imagine if those two wrote a book together. It would be an instant classic. I haven't read the short stories this film is based on, so I don't know if this film did the source material justice. The first story is based on King's short story, The Chattery Teeth, and the second half is based on Barker's short story, The Body Politic. I saw this movie as a kid when it aired on TV in the early 2000s, and I remember seeing it at least twice. I was bored and watched whatever was on. We couldn't afford cable back then, and streaming services were not as common back then. During that time, I watched a lot of Fox. There was a moment in the movie that scared me so much that I changed the channel. So when I rewatched it for this video, I had to mentally prepare myself, grab a stuffed animal, a hot beverage, whatever to get me through it. What's it about? According to the synopsis on IMDb, quote, traveling showman Aaron Quicksilver tells horror tales. A psychotic hitchhiker falls prey to a relentless, dangerously sharp set of chattering teeth, and a human hand that comes alive. YouTube doesn't like certain words said on the platform, so I have to censor myself. Come join me as I talk about a film that terrified me as a child. How scary is Quicksilver Highway? Let's find out. The movie opens on a county fair. A guy named Charlie begins picking pockets. He even steals from a handicapped man. No shame, Charlie. No shame. Wait, he just yanked her purse and she didn't feel that? He wanders into a circus tent filled with bizarre items, including a candle made from a hand. There he meets the owner, Aaron Quicksilver, played by Doc Brown? So this is where you went after Back to the Future 3. When I was a kid, I didn't know who Christopher Lloyd was, so this was a fun surprise when rewatching it years later. Quicksilver will be our main character and the storyteller. He tells Charlie a scary story about hands. A story within a story. This story is about Dr. George, who performs cosmetic surgery on clients who want to look young again. While giving a woman a facelift, he loses control of his hands, dropping his tools.
What did I ever do to you?
That guy was a bit too calm about getting a scalpel thrown at him. Fun fact, Clive Barker and the director Mick Garris cameo in this scene. As well as John Landis? This movie is scarier than I thought. It gets worse when he drives home and again loses control. He narrowly avoids hitting another car. He goes home to his wife Ellen. Dr. George looks like he has it all. That night, the hands start talking to each other?
So, how will we do it? When the time comes.
We'll find a way, as long as it's a clean cut.
How are they talking to each other? They talk about how they want to separate from their human. The next day, Dr. George confides his fear of his hands to his therapist. That night, Ellen climbs on top of her husband while he's asleep to give him some love when the hands begin to strangle her. He wakes up but is unable to regain control, and Ellen is killed. The hands start fighting for control. Dr. George calls his therapist for help. The hands force him into the kitchen, pick up a cleaver, and chop a hand off. The therapist arrives to find Dr. George bleeding on the floor. He's taken to the hospital where he tells them what happened, but of course they don't believe him. The severed hand is at the hospital as well, and begins telling other hands to also rebel against their humans, starting with this security guard.
Oh my God, no! No!
The hand goes to all the patients' rooms, starting a hand uprising. At the same time, Dr. George has a nightmare of being sealed in a coffin. It doesn't look that scary. Patients get their hands cut off and the free hands are running around the building. Oh my goodness, what are these effects? I know it was the late 90s, but it did not age well. Is this the origin story to the Thing from the Addams Family? Dr. George wakes up and realizes his other hand still wants control. To put an end to this, he climbs to the top of the building. The other hands follow since they view him as their messiah. Dr. George orders the hands to jump, despite his hands' protest. He jumps first, falling to his death as the hands follow. It's raining hands. I should also mention the therapist was also beginning to lose control of his hands, but after they all jumped, things went back to normal. Of course, the doctor dies, but he saved everyone. Somewhere in the hospital, a girl's nose begins to twitch, so she takes out a pair of scissors to cut it off. She cut her nose to spite her face. It then cuts back to Quicksilver and Charlie. Charlie asks if there was a purpose to the story before leaving.
It's not some kind of morality tale. Oh, that's good. I was afraid you might be the kind of good Samaritan who wants to turn my life around, the kind of holier-than-thou Budinsky who thinks he can tell me a better way to live my own life.
As he walks out, his hands begin to move on their own. His hands reach into the pocket of an officer, which gets him arrested. Maybe this is hinting at another hand uprising. That's how the first story ends. The idea of not being in control of your own body is scary and is a real thing. Body horror can work. Just ask Junji Ito.
The Fox Tuesday night movie, Quicksilver Highway, will continue.
The second story opens on a newly married couple stranded in the desert. They have a flat tire. The husband goes to get help, leaving her alone. It gets dark and he's still not back. A car pulls up and it's Aaron Quicksilver. He invites her inside his camper. Who wouldn't trust a guy who's dressed like he's having a midlife crisis? That camper looks fancy. Like with Charlie, he tells her a story. The story is about a traveling salesman named Bill. It's very dusty outside. He calls his wife to tell her he won't be home in time for his son's birthday. The son expresses his disappointment, leading Bill to say that he will be there and bring a present. There's a huge dust storm that he can barely see. Bill almost hits a hitchhiker. He stops at a general store. He notices a pair of teeth with legs. He talks to the store owner for a bit when a guy walks into the store. He doesn't have enough money to buy what he wants, so Bill pays the difference. He buys the teeth for his son and leaves. The guy from the store asks Bill if he can give him a ride since they are both going to Los Angeles. Bill agrees on the condition that he doesn't smoke in the car. The guy says his name is Brian. Bill talks about his work, but Brian begins to get on his nerves. Not only does he start smoking, but also puts out the cigarette on a picture his son drew. Oh, you are asking for a punch in the face, dude. Eventually, it gets worse when Brian pulls out a knife, saying he's going to steal the car. He tells Bill that he was the hitchhiker he almost ran over.
Look, buddy, don't do this, okay? I gave you a ride when you needed one. That's true. But you almost ran me over, man. You could have killed me. Painted me right into the blacktop and kept on driving. So I guess you think you can buy off a little of that middle-class guilt with a quarter and a ride to the interstate? Okay, but I didn't run you over.
Bill isn't going to give up the car easily and begins driving erratically, threatening to crash it. Then this happens.
Look out!
Bill is stuck upside down, bleeding from the head. This was the scene that scared me as a child. Seeing Bill bleeding with Brian holding the knife made me change the channel, so I didn't know how it ended for a while. Oh no, blood, look away! I'm too young for this! He tries and fails to unbuckle the seatbelt. Brian is free and plans to continue what he started. Bill is helpless when the bag with the teeth starts moving. Brian opens the bag and laughs. He taunts the teeth to bite him. Then the teeth bites his nose. Brian throws it away. The teeth bite his shoes, bite his fingers off, and then go for his neck. The teeth flying at him looks so silly. Bill passes out. When he wakes up, he's freed. The teeth bit through his seatbelt. He exits the car to see the teeth dragging Brian's body away. It cuts to 9 months later. Bill returns to the same general store. He talks to the same cashier who informs him her husband passed away. She also shows him the teeth. She found them on the doorstep and saved them for him, because that's what her husband would have wanted. Bill takes the teeth back and continues his drive. Back in the present, the wife asks what was the purpose of the story.
Why are you telling me this? Does this have a moral or a point?
Must every story have a moral point? Well, I'm merely a simple storyteller. The message is up to you.
Just then, they hear a car honking. They go outside to investigate. A man said he accidentally hit this guy who just came out of nowhere. The wife begins to panic and asks him to describe the guy. In the distance, they see a body being dragged away. She discovers it's her husband. She cradles his dead body while Quicksilver watches the teeth waddle away. That was Quicksilver Highway. Let's see what others thought of this movie. The movie currently has a 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb, a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 2.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Let's read some comments. Kinda stupid, but worth it. More of a comedy than a horror. I found it funny, and that's the only reason why it's rewarded 3 stars. Also very poor acting. The best film ever. The ultimate so bad it's good experience. Homicidal clockwork teeth? A talking hand revolution? Complete genius. Probably one of the worst Stephen King ventures. I mean, come on. Killer teeth? Wow. Oof. Mick Garris attempts to make Tales from the Crypt type of anthology out of the works of Stephen King and Clive Barker. Sounds good, right? Nope. This thing is a real turd. The stories aren't scary or even interesting. The acting is also poor. As for my thoughts, it's not as scary as I remember. I'm shocked it's not listed as a horror comedy, especially after seeing the scene of the hands talking to each other. The effects look dated. There are some genuinely terrifying moments. The scene of the security guard screaming as his hands drag him into the surgery room is unsettling. There's also the scene of the 2 guys fighting in the car. Bill trying to regain control by driving the car off the road was cool and suspenseful. Then he's trying to fight off Brian while upside down, while I'm thinking, how's he going to get out of this? Until the teeth appear. It could have been a cool story about a guy trying to fight off a crazy hitchhiker. It didn't have to be about magic teeth. Maybe it was scarier in the book, and it just doesn't translate well into film. I thought the acting was okay. If you like So Bad It's Good movies, then check it out. I'm glad I could give you a hand in finding a new movie to watch. If you like this video, then consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. Let me know your thoughts on Quicksilver Highway. Do you love it or hate it? Thanks for stopping by.